Hello everyone, it is Mortgage Monday. This is Kellyanne Worthington, loan officer with Liberty Home Mortgage. So today, as promised, the topic to discuss is the 5 main documents you need and why to get a mortgage. The reason I wanted to discuss this is I find that it's a common question. Even when talking to my sister when she went through her home buying purchase, she said, you know, you're giving all of this information out and you don't know why they need it. So I think it's a really helpful and important thing to know, especially even before going to get a mortgage, so that you know what you need to have to be prepared and have your process of getting your pre-approval go as smoothly as possible. So to start with, let's talk about pre-qualifications and pre-approval letters. So when you go to get a loan, the first step is to get pre-qualified. And what pre-qualified means is that you are going to a lender like myself and you say, Kelly, I would like to get a loan. The first step that I'm going to take as your lender is to get you pre-qualified. So what pre-qualified means is that we're going to take your basic application. Now on this application, the important questions that we have to have answered are your basic information. So your name, your phone number, email address, where you live. If you haven't lived at your current address for at least 2 years, then we have to verify where you lived prior to that as well, because we have to show 2 years of your living history. We also need to know who your employer is and how long you've worked there. If you haven't worked for your current employer for 2 years, then we will also verify who your previous employers were until we get that 2-year window of showing who your employers have been over the 2 years. Those are the basic information things. They're also, going to ask you things about your bank account. So how much you currently have in your checking, how much you have in your savings, do you have a 401k? So these are all basic things that a loan officer is required to ask you for a pre-qualification application. So the next step that's very important that they're going to ask you is if they have your approval to pull your credit. So it is important to know, and I have found that not everybody tells this, so I personally as a lender want to make sure you know this, that in order for a loan officer to get you pre-qualified, they have to pull your credit. And this is considered a hard pull. What a hard pull means is that it's going to show up as somebody doing an inquiry on your credit to get your credit score. You cannot get pre-qualified and pre-approved for a loan without getting your credit pulled. It's not possible. And I'll get to why in a minute. But so it's important to know that that credit score does have to be obtained by a lender in order to get you pre-qualified. So your basic information on yourself, where you live, your work history, your credit, those are the basics that build an application. So when you give a loan officer approval to pull your credit, they're going to do that. What happens on our end is that we then go and we pull your credit, we look and see what your debt to income ratio is. So basically what that is pulled off of your credit, which is another reason. So let's talk about why we have to pull your credit. One, we need to know what your credit score is. And the reason why is, and everybody's different. But for example, for us right now, at this moment, because it changes all the time, we can do credit scores of down to 600 and above. And so if somebody falls under that amount, then we need to work with them to help them get their credit up to that point. So the first main reason you have to have your credit score pulled is to know what your credit is, to see if you can even be allowed to get a loan. The second reason is that we need to see your liabilities. And what that means is any current revolving credit, like your credit cards, any mortgages that you have, auto loans, those all show up on your credit. So that's the second thing we need from the report. And then the third is we need to see if there are any collections, bankruptcies, foreclosures, tax liens. All of that is vitally important for us to know if we can help you get your loan. So one of the things I recommend to people prior to going to get a loan is if you can go to the annualcreditreport.com and get your credit. You get 1 free 1 a year. If you watched our video from last week, you would know that if you go there, every year you are entitled to 1 free report that doesn't hurt your credit to get. And you want to look through there and see, because a lot of times I have people who are like, I didn't even know that was on there. And so those are things that you want to look through. You want to make sure that, you get everything up to date, that you're not late on things, that anything in collections you try to get off as quickly as possible to help boost your credit score. So that's why, we have to have that credit report. So we look at your debt to income ratios. We look at how much money you have saved up for a down payment, things like that. So that all goes into the application. Once we pull your credit, we process your pre-qualification application and we run it through our our underwriting system, and it tells us if we can get you pre-qualified or not. If we can't, then my job is to come back to you and tell you why and work out a plan to help you get to where you need to go to get your loan pre-qualified. But if we can, then we move into the next steps, and that's what today's video is all about. This is when your lender, your loan officer, will come back to you and say, okay, we got you pre-qualified. So what now? Now we need your documents. So this is the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. And it's very important to understand that they are two very, very different things. A pre-qualification is our way of saying, we're pretty sure that we can get you approved for a loan, right? But your pre-approval is us saying, we've got you verified, we have your documents. It allows you to walk in with your realtor, number one, knowing that you know that you can afford the property. Because a lot of times, we all love wishful thinking and we always want to go look at those $500,000 or $1 million homes, right? But if you can't afford it, then it doesn't matter because you wouldn't be able to put an offer in. So that pre-approval letter is going to allow us to tell you, your realtor, and as well the people that you're going into their homes and looking at it with their selling agent, that you can afford the homes that you are looking at. And so how do we do that? That is with your documents. So what documents do you need to give and have ready for your lender in order to help get your pre-approval moving forward? There are two basic ones that are required for everybody. It doesn't matter what type of income you get, what type of employment you have, and that is your driver's license and your social security card. So your driver's license we need because it's just one of those documents that they need to verify. Your social security card, same thing. It verifies that you are a resident of the United States, that you live here, etc. Now, if you are a permanent resident, but you aren't an actual citizen, you can get a green card as well, can be used for that verification. But the basics are your driver's license and your social security card. Now, the next thing you need is 2 months worth of bank statements. So the previous 2 months, so like for example, we are still in April. So a lot of banks won't issue their bank statement until May 1st. So we need April and March's bank statements. The reason they need the bank statements is because we have to verify the income that you are claiming. We have to verify where funds are coming from for down payments, things like that. Now, where it gets a little bit tricky is when you get into the other documents. So there are three basic, I would say, type of employees, right? So you have your regular employee, which means you receive a W-2. So if you're at your job and you get a W-2 every year, then you are one set of employees. The other type are people who receive 1099s. Okay, so a W-2 employee is a salary or hourly employee that receives a W-2 from their employer every year. If you receive W-2s, then the verification documents outside of your social security card and driver's license and bank statements that you need to provide, you will need to provide your W-2s for the previous 2 years. So for example, if you came to me right now, we would need your W-2s for 2018 and 2019 from your employer. Now, the other type of employee is a person who gets a 1099. Now, a 1099 is for somebody who gets income but doesn't get a W-2. So those three types, basic types, are your self-employed person gets a 1099. If you are on Social Security income, you get a 1099. And if you're on disability income, you get a 1099. So we would need your 2 previous years of 1099s to verify that income along with your bank statement, your driver's license, your Social Security. However, when you're 1099, there's an additional thing that needs to be added in, and that is your tax returns. So if you are a W-2 employee, to get a pre-approval, you don't need your tax returns. But if you are a 1099, we need that extra bit of verification to get you that pre-approval. So you'll need to have your previous 2 years 1099s. Now, having been self-employed before, I know that not everybody files their taxes on time like they should. So if you are a 1099 employee and you were, example, coming to me right now in this moment and you're like, Kelly, I haven't filed officially my 1099s for 2019, then we would need your 2017 and 2018 tax returns until you get your 2019 returns filed. Okay, so the other thing that's very important with self-employed people is to know that there is just honestly a lot more that goes into getting you pre-approved. The first thing to know is you need to own at least 25% of your company. On top of that, you are also going to want to make sure that you show your profit and loss margins. That's my daughter, quarantine, COVID, we've got to teach at home. So you want to show your profit and loss margins. A lot of banks are also going to require you to show your bank statements and invoices to prove that your business is currently still running and making money. The other thing that's important to know is that most banks are going to require you to have 6 to 12 months of reserves. And what a reserve is it's a month of your mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment would be $600, then you would need at least a minimum of 6 months of reserves of that $600 payment saved to the side. Because self-employment, the reality is it's not as steady and guaranteed as a regular W-2 employment. So it's just important to know that you've got those few other things that factor in with self-employment. Now, with your disability income, it's important to know for disability and Social Security that you're going to need to provide also your awards letter. So the awards letter shows that you are being awarded the money, and it also states how long that will continue. So that is required verification for that. Now, the last type of person that can get a loan outside of your basic 1099 employee or a W-2 employee is your veteran. So for veterans, there are a few different documents for them that they will need to have on top of your basic driver's license, Social Security card, bank statements, etc. And the first one is your COE, or your certificate of eligibility. It shows us that you are eligible to get a VA loan, because there are special loans out there for vets to allow them some benefits as a thank you for their service to the country. The other one is your DD-214. That is your discharge of duty. So you'll want to make sure to have that. Now, if you are like, well, I don't have my COE, we can order it for you, but it is beneficial to you and the speed process of getting your loan approved if you work on getting those documents prior to getting ready to get a loan so that you have everything that you need. So for your vet, you need your COE, you need your DD-214, which is your discharge of duty, and then you also need your awards letter. Now, the last thing for a vet with an awards letter is that you have to show that you will receive at least 3 years more worth of payments as a vet. That's one of the requirements for that. For Social Security, it's, the life of your life that you're getting, so that doesn't matter. But when it comes to being a vet, you have to show that you have at least 3 more years of veteran benefits coming to you income-wise in order to be able to get that counted for you. Now, the last thing outside of all of that is when you add in things like if you were divorced, you would need to provide your complete divorce decree. And it does unfortunately include all the pages. So you would want to have those scanned or copied and ready for your lender. That's required. The other thing with divorce is that if you owe alimony and make alimony payments, you will be required to show proof of that. If you are receiving alimony or child support and you're not claiming it as part of your income, you don't have to claim it, then no verification is needed. But if you want to count alimony or child support as part of your income that you receive to qualify for your loan, then you will need to show proof of your child. Like if it's for child support, you have to show proof of your court order for the child support and proof of the payments being made. If you want to claim your alimony, you do have to show the divorce decree that orders the alimony payments, and then also have proof of the alimony payment income that you've been receiving. Outside of that, the only other thing that's a basic thing that comes up is if you've been through a bankruptcy or foreclosure, you would be required to show the discharge of that bankruptcy or foreclosure document with the seal and all of the information that goes with that. So that's the important documentation you want to have ready. So what happens is, so you have your pre-qualification, which is your basic, hi, I want to get a loan. Here's my basic info, name, where I live, where I work, how much money I have ready, etc. Then the lender, me, goes in and does your pre-qualification and lets you know either if you can get pre-qualified, great, or if you can't get pre-qualified, here's what we need to do to get you there. If you are ready to get pre-qualified and we can get you pre-qualified, then the next steps are those documents. So again, when a lender is asking you for them, there is a reason, and that is the reason. We have to have those documents to verify you to get you your pre-approval letter. So that pre-approval letter, again, allows you and your agent, your realtor, to go in, number one, knowing you can afford the home that you are looking at. Number two, it tells the seller's agent and the seller, you're a verified buyer. Anybody can walk in to see a home, right? Anybody could go out on a Sunday and say, hey, I want to go look at homes. That does not mean you can put an offer in on a home. You need that pre-approval letter so that they know that you are ready to buy. And why it's also important is if you walk in, especially right now in a time where you don't have a lot of homes for sale compared to the amount of buyers, you want to have all of your ducks in a row. You want to have that pre-approval letter ready so that when you go in and you find that home you want, you've got the letter, you can put in an offer, and you're not waiting trying to get all those documents together when you might have other people putting an offer in on the home. And that's where your lender comes in, because that is what we are here for, is to help you have everything ready so that you can go in, you can find that home, make the offer, and have everything ready. So I hope that was helpful information. If you have any questions, I love answering questions, so feel free to comment below, and definitely feel free to join me next Monday. The topic will be announced later, but I just thank you for watching. As always, I am here to help you. If you are a potential buyer and you are looking to get a home, I would love to be your lender. Please never hesitate to reach out. I'm available 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can Facebook message me. You can call or text me at 440-346-6003. And you can also visit my website, kellyanhomeloans.com. That is KELLYANNHOMELOANS.com. If you are an agent, I would love to work with you and help you for any and all of your buyers and sellers. That's what I'm here for. Thanks for the shout out, Shannon. And yeah, that's it. So just know I'm here, I'm available. Text me, even if you just have questions and you just want to ask questions. I got a few, just earlier today from people who are just like, hey, I just have a few questions. You don't have to be like ready to buy. It's always good to talk to a lender and get that information prior so that you're ready. But just remember, pre-qualification is your starting point. Your pre-approval letter allows you to go in and make that offer and be a registered qualified buyer for the properties you're looking at. So thanks for joining me. I hope you all have a great week ahead, and never hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much. Bye.